Good morning, General Biology 1 students, and welcome to our last lesson for the first quarter, and that is transport mechanisms in the cell. Okay, let me just share my screen, and as we start, here are our learning competencies. So we have four. First, we'll describe the structural components of the cell membrane. Next is we'll relate the structure and composition of the cell membrane to its function. Third, we'll explain transport mechanisms in cells, namely diffusion, osmosis, facilitated diffusion or facilitated transport, and active transport. And lastly, we'll differentiate exocytosis and endocytosis. Okay, so of course, for our assessments, meron tayong dalawang written work for CO3. So we have one from Cengage and the other one will be a Blackboard quiz. And yung date ay to be announced pa. So kailangan yung mag-vote dun sa ating poll para ma-determine natin kung anong date ba, whether it be August 21 to 22 or August 28 to 29. And then for our performance task, we have two again from Lobster. All right? So let's start, no? What is the plasma membrane and of course the structure and function? So we begin by watching this video, okay? And then after that, you're going to pause the video and answer the following questions. All right? So here we go.
Cell membranes. Cells all have different structures and functions, but they all have a cell membrane. The cell membrane is what separates the interior of the cell from its environment. It's also an important gatekeeper, allowing certain materials, including nutrients and cell waste, to selectively enter or exit the cell. Part of what makes the cell membrane so good at its job is the fact that this semi-permeable membrane is composed of a lipid bilayer. A closer look shows us that the membrane is composed of two rows of phospholipids. The hydrophilic, or water-loving, heads of phospholipids face the outside and inside of the cell, where they are attracted to water. These hydrophilic heads are made up of a phosphate group and a glycerol molecule. The hydrophobic, or water-repelling tails hide from the watery environment by facing each other. The tails are made up of two fatty acids. Some materials can pass right through the lipid bilayer via diffusion, but many other materials may not. Many cell membranes have specific proteins embedded into them which allow the cell to interact with its environment and selectively allow materials to pass in and out as needed. Some cell membranes also contain cholesterol and glycolipids. If we zoom out now, we can look at the cell membrane and notice its structure looks something like a fluid mosaic model. This is due to the fluid-like properties of the phospholipid bilayer and the differing proteins embedded within it.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Macgrohill. Hindi po yun yung name niya, pero again, here are the following questions. Okay? With of course, if you watch the video earlier, it says here, what are the composition of the phospholipid? Describe the components and nature of the head, and describe the components and nature of the tail. Or you can answer this second question, what's the purpose of proteins in the plasma membrane? Or the third one, enumerate the components of the plasma membrane. And lastly, why is the plasma membrane described as a fluid mosaic or fluid mosaic model? Okay, so I'll give you 1 minute to think this through, and once you're ready, click the raise hand button. All right. So let's move forward to the plasma membrane, also known as the cell membrane. So what is the plasma membrane? Of course, from the video, it says that the plasma membrane is the gatekeeper of the cell. Or like what we've learned in course outcome 1, it acts like a gate and a door, also a wall of protection. So of course, the plasma membrane encloses a cell and separates its contents from its surroundings. It serves as a cellular barrier, like a wall, as mentioned earlier. It also regulates or controls which materials enter or exit the cell. And it's also responsible for maintaining homeostasis. Sir, ano ba yung homeostasis? Homeostasis basically refers to maintenance of internal balance. In other words, balance or in the state of equilibrium. So yun ang goal ng ating plasma membrane. Magkaroon ng steady flow, inflow and outflow of materials in and out of the cell. Okay? The plasma membrane is also known as a semi-permeable membrane. Pag sinabi mong semi-permeable membrane, juicy siya in simple terms, which means not all materials can enter and exit freely in and out of the cell. Which lead us to this point, no? That when you zoom out, the plasma membrane is like a fluid mosaic model. Bakit daw tinawag na fluid mosaic model? It is because of the fluid-like characteristic of the phospholipids. So ano nga ba yung phospholipid? Ito yung composition ng plasma membrane natin o yung cell membrane natin. Which of course, the phosphate group and the lipids. Okay? So, of course, pag sinabi mong lipids, fats din yan. And the type of lipid that is present in animal cell is of course cholesterol. Okay? So, misconception po yung pag sinabi natin all cholesterol is bad because cholesterol forms one of the membrane or layers of the plasma membrane. Okay? And then for plant cell, it's called steroids or related steroids. Okay? So, the phospholipid bilayer. Bakit siya tinawag na phospholipid bilayer? Kasi dalawang layer siya, bilayer. The head or the heads are water-loving or attracted to water. Also known as hydrophilic. Okay? Hydrophilic. Whereas the tails of the plasma membrane are repellent or resistant. O sabihin na natin water-fearing. Okay? They repel water. Ayaw nila ng tubig. Also known as hydrophobic. Okay? So, ito yung mga basic components ng ating plasma membrane. So, we have the phospholipid bilayer. And of course, we have the transmembrane proteins. Ito yung mga naka-highlight in orange. These are the carrier protein, the channel protein, the receptor protein, or the receptors. Okay? So, pag sinabi nating carrier protein, this is responsible for permitting the entry of molecules. Okay? For example, glucose. Okay? So, glucose, a type of sugar, it utilizes carrier proteins to enter the cell. Okay? And then of course, we have the channel protein. Pag sinabi naman nating channel protein, di po ito yung TV station, ibang channel yon. When we speak of channel proteins, this refers to a type of protein that permits the entrance or the entry of ions. Ions such as sodium, potassium, chlorine, etc. Example of that is the sodium-potassium channel, which will be discussed later on. And then, of course, we have the receptors or the receptor protein. Okay, so yung receptors or yung receptor protein, this is utilized in, what do we call that? In bulk transport. All right. And then third, we have the interior protein network, which are composed of the spectrins and the clatrins. So yung spectrin at clathrin na yan, important sila sa tinatawag natin na endocytosis and exocytosis. Okay? And then the fourth one, another important component of the plasma membrane, we have the cell surface markers, which are made up of the glycoproteins and the glycolipid. Now, eto na, iisa-isahin na natin. Ano? So the first component of the phospholipid bilayer is of course the phospholipid molecule. So what is the phospholipid molecule? Okay, dalawa ang kanyang parts. The hydrophilic head, the water-loving head, and the hydrophobic tail or the water-fearing tails. The hydrophilic head or the water-loving head is of course attracted to water. That's why it faces the extracellular matrix, the outer layer of the cell, or the outside of the cell, and the intracellular matrix, or the inside of the cell. Okay? By the way, the phospholipid molecule is also known as an amphipathic molecule, which means meron siyang layers na water-loving at water-fearing. The hydrophobic tail or the water-fearing tails are made up of fatty acids. Okay, so of course, yung cholesterol molecule. Eh, ano bang ginagawa ng cholesterol molecule? Of course, the cholesterol molecule is a steroid or a type of lipid that affects the fluidity of the membrane. Kumbaga, hinahayaan, uh, iniiwasan niya. It prevents the phospholipid bilayer to uh, adhere too much. Okay, para hindi masyado magkadikit-dikit. Okay? So, yan ang function ng cholesterol. And then, of course, the cholesterol molecules forms the foundation of a plasma membrane. Kita nyo yan? Ayan, oh. The cholesterol molecules maintains enough distance between the phospholipid so that they won't get stuck. They won't adhere too much. Okay? So, cholesterol present sa animal cell whereas little to no presence naman sa plant cell. Okay. So, punta naman tayo dito sa mga proteins or the transmembrane proteins. May tatlong klase ng protein. We have the carrier protein, the channel protein, and the receptor protein. So, of course, what they do is they carry out membrane transport. Para silang gate, specialized na gate. Kung saan dito pumapasok at lumalabas yung mga molecules and ions. Okay, so first up, we have channel protein. The channel protein allows a particular molecule or ion to cross the plasma membrane freely. Okay, so example ng mga channel protein na banggit ko nga kanina, yung sodium-potassium pump. So the sodium-potassium pump is responsible for the brain, heart, and muscle cell function. Okay? So, the channel proteins, okay, passively transport molecules across the membrane and creates a selective tunnel that acts as a passage through the membrane. Okay. Sample nga yung sodium-potassium channel. And then we have the carrier protein, which selectively interacts with a specific molecule or ion so that it can cross the plasma membrane. Ito, binanggit ko na to kanina, yung glucose transporter. It moves glucose in and out of the various cell types in the body. The inability of some persons to use energy for sodium-potassium transport has been suggested as the cause of their obesity. Sinasabi lang naman nito, yung mga taong obese, okay, hindi gumagana ng maayos yung sodium-potassium carrier protein transport nila. Okay. Dito naman kanina sa channel protein, yung sakit na cystic fibrosis, also known as salty baby syndrome. Ibig sabihin lang naman nun, nagloloko yung chloride channel niya. Kaya nahihirapang lumabas din yung sodium at chlorine sa katawan nung or sa lungs nung tao o yung pasyente. Kaya ang nagiging result is kumakapal yung plema, okay, sa baga, kakaroon ng matinding secretion, yung sipon, okay, and nahihirapan huminga yung bata na may cystic fibrosis. Alright? May problema sa channel protein. Okay? So, channel protein, passive transport po yan. Yung carrier protein, active or passive transport. Okay? So, how does a carrier protein works? It moves specific molecules through the membrane in a series of conformational changes. For example, we have the sodium-potassium pump. And then, of course, we have the receptor protein. The receptor protein transmit information into cell. It works by the signal molecules binding to cell surface portion of the receptor, which alters the portion of the captor protein within the cell, inducing activity. Simplihan na lang natin, ganito yan. Yung receptor protein, para siyang lock and key. Yung niya. So, ito yung receptor protein, nakalock. Okay? Kasi ito yung susi. So, itong molecule na to, okay? For example, mga neurotransmitter. Yung neurotransmitter, mga chemical yan na nagpo-flow sa dugo natin, tapos nanggagaling yan sa utak natin. At nagre-respond yan depending on our emotion. So, for example, dopamine. Ayan, dopamine. Ganyan na lang gamitin natin, ha? So, ito yung dopamine neurotransmitter. Sabihin na natin, pupunta siya dito sa receptor protein. Okay, pagka nag-bind na siya dito, kumbaga parang nakasaksak na siya, just like yung saksakan ng kuryente, di ba? Oops, ma-activate na yan ngayon. Makakapasok na yung mga molecules doon sa cell. So, ganun po yung receptor protein. Another example, yung insulin. Okay, yung insulin, hormone din siya. Kung naalala nyo, nung grade 10 kayo, di ba, ang insulin, ginagamit siya ng katawan natin to regulate blood glucose level. So, ang story ganito, nagugutom ka. Siyempre, nagugutom din yung cell mo. Kumain ka ng matamis. So, yung sugar, nandito pa sa labas ng cell. Ayan. Kaya high ka pa dyan di ba? Tinatawag nilang sugar rush. So, kailangan ngayon makakain ng cell mo. Okay? So, ayan. Ito yung sugar, halimbawa. Ayan. So, sasabihin ngayon ng brain, si pancreas, sabihin niya, Uy, pancreas, gumawa ka nga ng insulin. Kailangan na makakain ng cell natin. Okay, boss. Right away. So, ngayon, si insulin, it will bind to the receptor protein like what a key does to the doorknob, and it will of course open up the entrance to the cell so that glucose molecules can enter the cell, therefore lowering the blood glucose level. Kaya ang resulta naman nun sa'yo ay makakatulog ka. Aantukin ka pagkatapos mong kumain. Ganun po yun. Okay? That's how, what do we call this? That's how receptor-mediated transport works. Okay? So much for that. Now, let's move forward to the interior protein network, also known as the peripheral proteins. So, anong function nila? So, these are proteins that occur only on the cytoplasmic side of the membrane. Okay. Sino ba yung mga proteins na yan? So, we have spectrin and clathrin. Let's start first with spectrin. So, mga nasa cytoplasm daw itong mga to. The spectrins determine the shape of the cell and it forms supporting scaffold beneath membrane anchored to both membrane and cytoskeleton. Ang sinasabi lang naman nito, no, basically, spectrin is the one that determines the shape of the cell. So, for example, a red blood cell. Yan. Itong spectrin na to, siya nagsasabi kung ano magiging shape ng cell na to. Okay? Kung circular siya. Ganyan. A healthy red blood cell, of course, looks like this. Spherical or round. Okay? Yung may yung taong may sickle cell anemia, na may problema dun sa kanyang spectrin. Okay? Ang taong may sickle cell anemia, nagiging sickle shape yung red blood cell nila. And yung taong may thalassemia. Thalassemia, literal na matalas yung dugo niya. Okay? Parang patusok-tusok yung shape ng dugo. Kasi nga may problema sa spectrin. Okay? So basically, spectrins the one that determine the shape of the cell. Whereas clatrins anchor certain proteins to specific sites, especially on the exterior plasma membrane in receptor-mediated endocytosis. So ano bang role niyan ni clatrin? Ito yung role niya. So for example, may isang object na nakapasok na nag-bind doon sa plasma membrane. Of course, ang gagawin ni clatrin, ang tatawagin niya yung mga ibang protein. Oy, dynamine, tara, pasukin na natin to. Okay. So, of course, the cell will, or the object will enter the plasma membrane through the vesicle, and that vesicle is covered by the clatrin. Okay? So the clatrin is a protein that lines the coated pits and facilitate binding to specific molecules. Okay? At saan ginagamit yung clatrin na yan? Ito, localization of low density lipoprotein within coated pits. Ito yung low density lipoprotein, isa tong type ng cholesterol na ito yung pinifilter, nililinis ng ating liver. Okay. Tsaka pansinin nyo, class, yung last three letters nila, may INS. So ano yan, technique yan para malaman mo na yung quote-unquote chemical ay isang protein. Okay, and then of course we have glycoproteins and glycolipids. So ano naman ang role ng dalawang to? So the glycoprotein and the glycolipid on the outer surface of a cell's membrane that acts as an identifier, and different cell types carry different markers. So for example, for glycoprotein, this is responsible for self-recognition. Okay? So, baga parang siya yung nag-identify whether kakampi ba ng katawan natin, kakampi ba ng cell natin, or kalaban. Yun yung role niya. Okay? So it creates a protein and carbohydrate chain shape characteristic of individual. And it's responsible for the major histocompatibility complex protein recognized by immune system. Parang ganito lang yan eh. Okay? So halimbawa, nagpapatrol si white blood cell sa bloodstream natin. Okay? Siyempre, yung white blood cell na yun may glycoprotein. Malalaman niya yung mga makakasalubong niya on the way. Sabihin niya ganun, no? Okay, kakampi to, kakampi. Okay? Ito. Kakampi yan. May nakain ka ngayon na allergen. Okay? May nakain ka ngayong allergen. Dito na ngayon mag-a-alarm. At dito na papasok si glycolipid. Ayan. Si glycolipid naman is responsible for tissue recognition and creates a lipid carbohydrate chain shape characteristic of tissue. Okay. Bago muna tayo pumunta dyan kay glycolipid. So may nakakain ka nga ngayon na allergen. Halimbawa, nakakain ka ng hipon. Ayan. Marami kasi may allergy sa ganun, di ba? Seafood allergy. So, nag-alarm ngayon yung tinatawag natin na allergic reaction. Okay? And then of course, magre-release yung katawan natin ng histamine. Okay? Kaya ang histamine na yan, panlaban dun sa, tinitreat niya kasi na kalaban yung allergens eh. Yung components ng seafood na yun. Kaya magiging effect niya sa katawan natin, mamumula yung balat mo, magpapantal ka, okay? Magsisikip yung hininga mo. Because that is our body's response to certain allergens. Okay? Glycoproteins play a role in that area. Okay? So, ayan na nga. Binanggit ko na kanina. So, yung infected na cell, okay? Kita nyo? Sabihin ni glycoprotein, ayan, kalaban niya, no? Atakihin nyo yan, atakihin nyo. Okay. Siyempre, tatawag na ngayon ng mga tinatawag natin soldiers of the body. Ayan. Cytotoxic T cell, helper T cell. Ayan. The killer cells. Okay, naalala niyo yung ano? Cells at work. Kaya yung ginagawa niyan. Okay, si glycoprotein. Si glycolipid naman, siya naman yung in charge dun sa tinatawag natin na blood typing and cross matching. Okay? So, meron tayong 4 na blood groups or 4 na blood type. Major blood type. We have type O, type A, type B, and type AB. Okay? Si type O, wala siyang surface antigen sa kanyang cell. Wala. Kaya nga, pwede siyang mag-donate ng dugo, yan type O, sa lahat ng blood group. Si type A naman, of course, pwede siyang tumanggap ng dugo ni type O at ni type A lang. Hindi pwede kay type B. Okay? Hindi rin pwede kay type AB. Bakit, sir? Kasi maglalaban, literal na maglalaban, yung antigen ng magkaibang dugo, magkaibang blood type. Ano mangyayari dun, sir? It will lead to what we call agglutination reaction. Okay? Ibig sabihin, yung dugo, mamumuo, and worse, mamamatay yung pasyente. So, ingat-ingat sa pagbibigay ng dugo kapag ikaw ay naging nurse. Okay? So, yun. Okay, moving forward na, no? Alright. We have the modifications of cell surfaces. Okay, so to start, of course, in the cell surfaces in animal cell, we have the extracellular matrix or the ECM. The ECM is a meshwork of proteins and polysaccharides or complex carbohydrates in close association with the cell that produce them. Okay, ito po yung extracellular matrix. Ayan. Okay, the extracellular matrix, otherwise known as the outside of the cell, is made up of proteins, yan, and complex carbohydrates or polysaccharide, okay, na nag-uusap-usap yung mga yan, nagko-communicate yung mga yan para mapapasok or hindi mapapasok at mapalabas din yung mga materials from the intracellular matrix or the inside of the cell. Ano po yung mga components ng ECM? So we have the structural proteins such as collagen. Collagen is responsible for resisting stretching. Okay, alam niyo ba yung collagen na yan? Marami yan sa bone marrow natin. Okay. At saka sa ating balat, our skin cell. Kaya nga mga nag-advertise ngayon, di ba? Rich in collagen. O, sabi na ganyan, di ba? Well, of course, di naman 100% totoo yun. But collagen is a protein that's responsible for resisting stretching. Okay? That's why our skin is flexible. Elastin fibers. Of course, the elastin fibers, it gives the extracellular molecule resilience. Okay? So, mas nagiging durable siya, mas nagiging flexible, mas nagiging elastic ang ating cell dahil sa elastin fibers. Okay? Yung skin at saka yung muscle cell, marami rin yan. Next, we have fibronectin, an adhesion protein that binds to a protein which is called integrin. So, ang responsibility ni fibronectin is to bind to integrin. Okay, ano ba yung integrin na yan? Integrin plays a role in cell signaling. Okay. Integrin is an integral membrane proteins that connect to fibronectin externally and to the actin cytoskeleton internally. So para siyang wire na nakakonect sa cytoskeleton at doon sa fibronectin. And from the word wiring, it's involved in cell signaling and permits the extracellular matrix to influence the activities of the cytoskeleton and therefore shape and activities of the cell. Okay? So in other words, importante rin at foundational ang role ng integrin. Okay? Pag may papasok na tubig, uy, papasok ng tubig. Sige, sige, sige. Oh, alam niyo na gagawin na osmosis yan, osmosis. Parang ganun. Okay, sige boss. Parang ganun. Alright? Sige. And then of course, we have the junctions. Okay, which are of course found in the cell surfaces of animal cell. Tatlo sila. We have the adhesive junction, which mechanically attaches cytoskeletons of neighboring cells or cells to the ECM. Then we have the septate or tight junctions, which connect the plasma membranes of adjacent cells in a sheet with no leakage. Para maiwasan daw ang leakage or ang pagtutulo, may tight junction na tinatawag sa ating cell. And then of course, we have the communicating or the gap junction. Communicating or the gap junction is responsible for chemical or electrical signal passes. Okay, it passes directly from one cell to an adjacent one. It's important in heart muscle and smooth muscle. Okay, so adhesive. The adhesive junction is responsible for attachment. Okay, attachment of cytoskeleton from neighboring cell. Whereas the tight junction Okay, is responsible for controlling leakage. All right. And then the gap junction or communicating junction is responsible for the chemical and electrical signal passage. Okay, from one cell to another. Alright, so importante talaga lahat ng mga yan kasi sila may mga role na ginagampanan. Okay? Para magkakadikit ang mga cell, okay? Adhesive junction. Para walang tulo, tight junction. For electrical and chemical signaling, we have communicating or gap junction. Okay. Now, in the case of plant cell walls, of course, the plant cell wall, as we all know, is a rigid outer structure located just outside the plasma membrane. So, mga organism lang na mayroong cell wall, so of course, plants, fungi, and some bacteria. Example, yung cyanobacteria, yung photosynthetic na bacteria. Component ng plant cell wall, of course, made up of cellulose, kapatid ni celluloid, joke lang, along with hemicellulose, pectin, and sometimes lignin. Specialized membrane called plasmodesmata, ito yun, okay? These are membrane-lined channels that contain cytoplasm and water and small molecules can pass from cell to cell. So para makalipat yung tubig, para makalipat yung sugar, kung ano-ano pang mga materials from one plant cell to another plant cell, meron yung tinatawag na plasmodesmata. Okay? Of course, sagutin natin to. Okay? Sasagutan natin to by pausing the video. So you have to match the term to its correct function. Okay? So yan, collagen, integrin, fibronectin, gap junction, tight junction, and plasmodesmata. Okay, nasa lesson 3 na tayo. For passage of molecules in and out of the cell. Okay, syempre, pag-uusapan natin dito yung concentration gradient. Ano ba yung concentration gradient? Iba yung titignan mo yung tao sa mata sa mata, tapos gaganon ka sa utak mo. Hindi, iba yun. Ibang concentration naman yun. Pag sinabi natin concentration gradient, we are talking about the difference in solute concentration from inside and outside of the cell. Okay? Or in other words, the concentration of a solute is higher on one side of a membrane than the other. Or differences in solute concentration. That is the concentration gradient. And then another example of a concentration gradient is chemical gradient. So ano naman yung chemical gradient na yan? Ganito example niyan. So immediately daw, pagkakain mo ng asukal or carbohydrates, mataas yung concentration ng glucose sa labas ng cell compared to the inside. So doon pa lang may chemical gradient na. Okay? So chemical gradient is defined as the difference in charge and chemical concentration across a membrane. For example, ito. Ito yung loob ng cell, di ba? Yung loob ng cell natin, focus tayo sa sodium concentration. Ito yung mga sodium. Ayan. Dito sa loob ng cell, mababa yung sodium concentration. Whereas outside the cell, has higher sodium concentration. So is there a chemical gradient existing in this example? Yes, of course. Okay? Because the inside of the cell is negatively charged. Bakit? Konti lang kasi yung sodium. Whereas the outside of the cell is positively charged. Kasi nga marami yung sodium. May chemical gradient? Meron. Okay? So the difference in charge and chemical concentration across a membrane is referred to as chemical gradient. Now, how do molecules cross the plasma membrane? Okay? So example, itong mga to. Charged molecules and ions. Paano daw sila magkocross? Aba, tingnan na lang natin. Okay? Right? Oh. Mhm. Ito kasi yan. Yan. Meron tayong tinatawag na membrane transport. Okay? Ito na yung transport mechanism in the cell. Tatlong types sila at may iba-ibang example. So we have passive transport. So under passive transport, we have diffusion, facilitated diffusion, and osmosis. Whereas active transport naman, we have the sodium-potassium pump. And then of course, we have bulk transport, which utilizes vesicles. Okay? So, kung titignan natin, ano ba yung difference between passive and active transport? Tignan muna natin tong GIF na to. Okay? In passive transport, the direction of movement is from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. Sino po yung mga nagmo-move, sir? Mga solute yan or mga molecules. Okay? Ayun, no? High concentration to low concentration. Kung gusto nyo gumamit ng ibang illustration, ganito yan. So, may isang bundok na mataas, tapos may dalawang magkaibigan. Ito. Okay? Si yan. Si sodium. Okay? Yan. Si Nana. Si N1 tsaka si N2. Okay? Nasa mataas na lugar sila. Gusto lang bumaba. Pero dahil nga experience na sila, hindi na nila kailangan gumamit ng tali tsaka hagdan pababa. So, anong ginawa nila? They just slid down the mountain until they reach the surface safely. What did just happen, sir? Okay. So these two friends represent the solutes. The top of the mountain represents the high concentration. And the movement, of course, down the gradient represents the movement of molecules in passive transport. Okay? So, movement from high to low concentration without the use of ATP. That is how passive transport works. Okay? So, an example of passive transport include diffusion and facilitated diffusion. Okay? So, ito, huwag kang kabahan. Nilagyan lang ng facilitated diffusion yan. Sabihin lang naman yan, gumagamit ng carrier protein. Okay? Yung mga malalaking molecules para makapasok sa loob ng cell. Okay? Pero hindi nila kailangan gumamit ng ATP. Whereas, yung active transport naman, okay, from the word active transport, it utilizes ATP, energy. Okay, ATP is the energy currency of the cell. Ito yung kailangan ng cell natin, na-generate to sa mitochondria, at it serve as a quote-unquote key to activate the channel proteins. Okay? Or the pump proteins. The protein pumps. Alright? Pwede mo naman siyang i-visualize ng ganito in this way. So again, may dalawang magkaibigan. Si sodium Okay, at si potassium. Yan. Nak. Yan. So, kailangan nilang makakyat dun sa taas ng bundok. So, dito sila sa ground, which is low surface. And then yung taas ng bundok, high surface. Yung mga baguhan pa lang sila eh. So, para makakyat sila, kailangan nilang tali. O yan, may tali. Ayan. O kaya hagdan. Tali tsaka hagdan. So, ayun, nakakyat sila. Okay, they went against gravity, di ba? Ganun naman eh. Pag paakyat ka, against gravity ka, di ba? So, nakakyat ba sila, sir? Nakakyat sila. They made it to the top safely. Of course, by using rope and a ladder. Okay? So, of course, these two represents ions. Okay? Ions. Whereas yung movement nila represents how the ions move from an area of low concentration to an area of high concentration against the gradient. Okay, parang against gravity, di ba? Pagpakit. Dito naman sa active transport against the gradient. Alright? The rope, of course, and the ladder represents the ATP. Okay? So, that's how active transport works. And we'll discuss more of this in the next slides. Let's start first with diffusion. Diffusion is, of course, defined as the net movement of molecules down a concentration gradient. Molecules move both ways along the gradient, but net movement is from high solute concentration to low solute concentration. Okay? So diffusion occurs in a solution. Ano po yung solution? Ito ba yung mga add, subtract, divide? Hindi po, ibang solution yun. A solution in chemistry is composed of the solute or the one that is dissolved. Pwedeng solid siya, pwedeng liquid, pwedeng gas. And of course, the solvent. Hindi yung sinisingot ng mga bata, ibang solvent yun. Solvent is the one that dissolves the solute. It's a it's a liquid. Ano yun, sir? Yung solvent. Tubig. Water is the universal solvent. Okay? Ano ba goal ng diffusion? Of course, ang goal ng diffusion is makagalaw yung mga solute o yung mga molecules from high solute concentration to a low solute concentration. And then of course, ang end goal niya is what we call equilibrium or dynamic equilibrium. Ano po yung dynamic equilibrium na yan? Okay, pag sinabi mong dynamic equilibrium or equilibrium, it happens when net movement stops and the solute concentration is uniform. Balanse, kumbaga. O, example, nagtimpla ka ng kape. Okay? So, yung kape, yung powder, yun yung solute. Yung mainit na tubig, yun yung solvent. So, kapag binuhos mo yung coffee powder dun sa tubig, syempre, mag-spread out yan, di ba? Magdi-diffuse. O para mapabilis mo yung equilibrium, okay, haluin mo. Di ba? Pagkahalo mo, okay, nakita mo, pantay na yung kulay, di ba? O kaya kumbaga evenly distributed na yung solute dun sa solvent, o yun na yung equilibrium. Okay? So, temperature, pressure, ay temperature yung mainit na tubig. Pressure yung hinalo mo ng vigorously. And then of course, electrical current and molecular size affect the rate of diffusion. Okay? So that is diffusion. Alright? Ulitin natin. Diffusion refers to movement of molecules from a higher to a lower concentration. Higher to a lower concentration down their concentration gradient until equilibrium is achieved. Okay? Ito panoorin natin tong short video na to.
Molecules dissolved in a solution are in constant random motion due to their kinetic energy. One result of this motion is that dissolved molecules become evenly distributed throughout the solution. This tendency of molecules to spread out is an example of diffusion. But how do these molecules come to be evenly distributed? Let's start with a beaker of plain water. What will happen if we now add a lump of sugar to the water? A lump of sugar is composed of many individual sugar molecules, and even as a solid lump, the individual sugar molecules are in motion. When the lump is dropped into the water, it begins to dissolve. Individual sugar molecules move randomly and constantly from the area where they are common to the area where they are scarce. This type of motion, when molecules move from areas of their higher concentration to areas of their lower concentration, is called diffusion. Diffusion continues until all the sugar molecules become evenly dispersed throughout the beaker. The rate of diffusion is affected by temperature, size of molecules, and the steepness of the concentration gradient. Although not specifically shown in this animation, this is one of the processes whereby materials are exchanged between a cell and its environment.
Okay. So that's how diffusion works. Okay? So another example, ito. So, yung aquarium ng tita mo. Okay? Kasi ikaw, dahil nga loko-loko ka, kumuha ka ng wood coloring o yung crystal ng dye. So, pinatak mo, may evil lap ka pa. Sabi mo ganun. Pagpatak mo nung dye, ano nangyari dun sa molecules nung colored dye? Ayun, nag-diffuse dun sa water. Okay? Coming from the crystal, which is high solute concentration, it spreads out to the water, which is a low solute concentration, high to low solute concentration, until the dye is evenly distributed throughout the solution. Another example ng diffusion, may nagpabango. May nagpabango sa classroom. So nagpabango yung kaklase mo, of course, yung bote, yun yung may high solute concentration ng perfume, in-spray niya ngayon. Kumalat yung amoy. Okay, nag-diffuse yung amoy ng pabango. Okay, naamoy ng katabi mo. Diffusion din yun. Ano pa example ng diffusion? May umutot. May umutot sa classroom. Okay? Dun sa tiyan niya, andun yung high concentration ng gas, nirelease niya ngayon na amoy ng buong klase o nag-diffuse yung amoy ng utot sa buong classroom. Okay? So, of course, on a more serious note, okay, the air we breathe, and so, bawa ikaw yan. So, syempre, on our lungs, we have multiple air sacs that's responsible for gas exchange. So, halimbawa ito yung air sac. Alveoli din yan. Okay, yan. Alveoli yan. So, ito naman, yung red. Yan. Yung red na mahaba, yan naman yung blood vessel. Okay. So, dyan nangyayari yung gas exchange. So, sabihin na natin, ito yung dugo. Ayan. Okay. Deoxygenated blood pa siya. Pag sinabi mo deoxygenated blood, mataas yung concentration ng carbon dioxide at mababa yung concentration ng oxygen. Okay? Tapos, syempre, huminga ka nga, di ba? Nag-inhale ka. Hindi, syempre, dito sa alveoli mo, nakaabang ngayon dyan yung mga oxygen. Mataas yung concentration ng oxygen dyan. So, paano magkakaroon ng gas exchange dyan? The short answer is diffusion. Okay? So, oxygen will diffuse from the alveoli to the red blood cell. Okay? I-receive ng red blood cell yung oxygen natin. And in turn, papalitan naman ngayon, no? Carbon dioxide, mapupunta naman siya from the blood to the lungs through diffusion once again. So carbon dioxide will diffuse from the red blood cell to the alveoli, papalabas sa ating ilong. Okay, that is the process of gas exchange. It is done via diffusion. All right? So that is diffusion. Okay. Next transport mechanism is of course ito, panoorin natin syempre.
How facilitated diffusion works. In the process known as facilitated diffusion, a special protein with a central channel acts as a selective corridor, which helps molecules move across the membrane. There are two classes of proteins that mediate facilitated diffusion: carrier proteins and channel proteins. Carrier proteins embedded in the lipid bilayer of the cell bind only to a specific molecule, such as a particular sugar or amino acid. Once the molecule binds to the carrier protein, this protein helps or facilitates the diffusion process by changing shape and moving the molecule down its concentration gradient through the membrane into the cell where it is released. Alternatively, channel proteins do not require a specific site for the molecule to bind to. Instead, they allow the free flow of any molecule that's the appropriate size or electrical charge to move through it, allowing free diffusion in either direction. Facilitated diffusion is similar to simple diffusion in that both involve the movement of molecules down their concentration gradient, and this movement is carried out without any input of energy. However, in facilitated diffusion, the movement of molecules will only take place if it is facilitated or helped by a special protein carrier or channel in the membrane. Facilitated diffusion can occur in either direction, depending on the concentration gradient. If there is a higher concentration of the particular molecule inside the cell, the same carrier protein would then transport the molecules out of the cell.
Okay, so yun na nga, nabanggit na ni Miss McGraw-Hill. No? Facilitated diffusion. So a type of diffusion with help. Okay? So same lang halos ang simple diffusion at facilitated diffusion. In a sense that the movement of molecules is from a high to low concentration or down the concentration gradient. Okay? But in facilitated diffusion, molecules require specific channel or carrier protein. Kaya nga tinawag na facilitated diffusion. May tulong ng carrier or channel protein. Okay? Para makagalaw-galaw yung molecule in and out of the cell. An example of that is glucose transport. Okay? Yung glucose transport, syempre si glucose, malaking molecule ito eh. Hindi naman siya pwedeng makapasok lang basta-basta like, di ka tatagos sa akin. Sabi sa kanya nung plasma membrane. Anong diffusion? Diffusion. Facilitated diffusion ka. Okay, kasi malaki siya. So yung facilitated diffusion, meron tayong tinatawag na protein. Ang pangalan niya ay glucose transporter. Ayun ang gagamitin ni glucose para makapasok siya sa loob ng cell. Okay? Yun ang that is facilitated diffusion. Okay. So of course, we have another type of passive transport and this is now called osmosis. Okay, osmosis is a special case of diffusion. Okay? Pero ang bida dito, ang focus natin dito ay si water molecules. Okay? So, osmosis, also known as water diffusion, is referred to as the diffusion of water across a selectively permeable membrane. It works just like this. The solute concentration on one side is high, but the water concentration is low. Okay, lagay natin. high solute concentration but low water concentration on this side. Whereas this side naman has low solute concentration but high water concentration. So, paano movement ng tubig dyan? Okay. So, of course, sa gitna, ito yung tinatawag natin na semi-permeable membrane. SPM, semi-permeable membrane. Okay, ito sabi, water can diffuse both ways across the membrane, but the solute cannot. Okay. So, net movement of water is toward low water concentration to high water concentration. Okay, kaya nagkakaroon ng osmosis kasi meron concentration gradient. Okay, may differences in water concentration sa magkabilang side. So, paano yung movement ng tubig? Ganito movement ng tubig. From high solute concentration to low solute concentration. Okay. Or low water concentration to high water concentration. Okay? Isa pa, paano gagalaw uli yung tubig? From high water concentration to low water concentration. Okay? Ito natin movement of water from high water concentration or low solute concentration to low water concentration or high solute concentration. Ito na lang tandaan nyo. Okay? Para hindi kayo malito. Water loves solute. Water is attracted to solute. Almost always. Bakit almost always? Kasi may mga ibang solute na hindi naman nadidissolve sa tubig. Example, oil, lupa, bato, o ganun. Okay, but water loves solute. Sinusundan lagi ng tubig yung mga solute. Bakit? Para tunawin niya. Ganun yun. Okay? Kaya ang movement ng tubig sa osmosis ay from low solute concentration to high solute concentration. Okay? So the osmotic pressure is the pressure that develops due to osmosis. Alright? Sige. Pakinggan natin
Diffusion is the net movement of molecules down a concentration gradient. This process allows small molecules, such as oxygen and carbon dioxide, to cross the plasma membrane. Most polar molecules, such as sugars and proteins, cannot freely cross this lipid membrane. Although water molecules are polar, they are small enough to pass through the membrane freely. This special case of diffusion that involves the movement of water molecules across a membrane is called osmosis. If a molecule, such as urea, is added to one side of a membrane, it will not be able to diffuse across the membrane because it is both large and polar. Because of its polar nature, it will interact with other polar molecules, such as the water. This interaction reduces the number of free water molecules on the right-hand side. With fewer free water molecules on the right-hand side, there is now a net movement of water molecules down their concentration gradient to the side with the urea molecules. Because more water molecules are moving into this area than are leaving, the water level on the right side will rise. If the osmotic concentrations of two solutions are equal, the solutions are isotonic. However, when the solutions have unequal osmotic concentrations, the solution with the higher concentration of solutes is hypertonic, and the solution with the lower concentration of solutes is hypotonic.
Okay. So, binanggit yung narrator, yung tonicity na tinatawag. Ay, ano ba yan? Tonicity na
Diffusion
yan.
is the net movement of
So, yung
molecules.
tonicity na yan, nade-develop yan kasi meron tayong tinatawag na unequal solute and water concentration. Okay? So, eto na tayo. In osmosis, water moves across a membrane from the hypotonic compartment with lower solute concentration into the higher or hypertonic compartment with a higher solute concentration. So, water movement, sabi ko nga kanina, water love solute. So, water is attracted to solute. So, it seeks to dissolve those solutes. So, it moves from a low solute concentration to high solute concentration. Okay? Hypotonic, hypertonic. Ano ba yan? Oh, ganito yan. Okay? Magdo-drawing ako ha. Ng iba-ibang klaseng solution at ano yung magiging reaction ng animal cell at plant cell. So, simulan muna natin sa isotonic solution class. So, ito yung isotonic solution. Ayan. Isotonic solution to ha. Okay. Ayan. So, kulayan natin yung solution as dark blue. O, ayan. Dark blue. Okay. Tapos yung mga bilog-bilog. Okay. Yan yung tubig. Okay. Water molecules ito. O, ayan. Okay. Tapos, drawing din natin yung mga solute. Ito yung mga solute. Gawin natin parang ano. Yellow naman, yellow. Ayan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Tapos, ito yung red blood cell. O, yan. Red blood cell. Dugo. Okay. Sabi dyan, solute and water concentrations are equal on both sides of the cell membrane. Okay, edi syempre gawa rin tayo dito. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. O, ganun din yung solute dito. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. O, anim-anim. Ano mangyayari dyan? Sabi, no net gain or loss of water by the cell. Okay, ibig sabihin, the water moves in and out of the cell freely. Okay, because there is equilibrium. Okay? So, lagyan natin ng drawing. Drawing natin. So, labas-pasok lang daw si water dun sa cell. Labas-pasok siya. Okay? Because the solution is isotonic. Now, a solution is hypotonic. Okay? A solution is hypotonic if it's defined as this. The concentration of solute in the solution is lower than inside the cell. Okay? So, yung solute concentration daw, doon sa solution, ay mababa compared to the cell. Okay? So, ano na to ha? Hypotonic solution. Okay? Sige, gawa tayo. So, ito ulit yung mga solute. Ayan. Okay? Tapos, ito naman uli yung red blood cell. Ayan, red blood cell to. Okay, tapos ito naman yung solute concentration. For example, dun sa loob ng red blood cell. Ayan. Okay? So, di syempre, anong gagawin ng tubig? Gagawin ng water. Of course, water, mga tubig yan ha. Water will go into the cell. Okay? Sige, ulitin natin. Water is attracted to solute. Okay? So, cells placed in a hypotonic solution will swell. Mamamaga daw. At pagka namaga, ang ending, puputok. Swell and burst. In plants, it will lead to turgor pressure. Okay? Para malulunod yung halaman. Lalaki yung mamamaga yung vacuole. O, sa animal cell naman, sabi, lyse, L-Y-S-E, or rupture. Also known as swell and burst. Okay? Para madali yung tandaan, hypotonic, putok. O, di ba? Yan ang ending. Pag binabad mo raw yung animal cell sa isang hypotonic solution, puputok. Kaya hypotok, potonic. Okay? Bakit? Kasi nga, mababa yung level o yung concentration ng solute doon sa solution compared to the cell. Water is attracted to solute. So, papasok yung tubig doon sa loob ng cell. Ending, puputok. Sasabog. Mamamaga, tapos puputok. Swell and burst. Okay, last type of solution in osmosis. We have hypertonic solution. So in a hypertonic solution, the concentration of solute is higher in the solution than inside the cell. Okay, so drawingan uli natin. So ito yung nangyari sa cell. Okay, lumubog. Bakit? Lumabas yung tubig. Okay, lumabas yung tubig. Papunta doon sa solution. Okay. Bakit? Kasi nga yung solution, mas maraming solute concentration. O, ayan yung mga solute, yung mga yellow. O, ayan. Okay? So, sabi nga, cells placed in a hypertonic solution will shrink. Also known as crenation in animal cells. Okay? And then in the case of plant cells, it will lead to plasmolysis. Example, dead plants along a salted roadway and marine animals that are able to make their blood isotonic with the environment. Sinasabi lang naman nito, okay, pagka daw binabad mo yung red blood cell, yan, dugo natin, sa isang hypertonic solution, okay, lalabas yung tubig doon sa dugo natin, mapupunta doon sa solution. Okay? Ano mangyayari doon sa red blood cell? Lulubog. Also known as crenation. Hindi cremation, iba yun ha. Okay, crenation. Or cell shrinkage. Hypertonic, isipin nyo na lang, di ba? O nalilito pa rin kayo hanggang ngayon. Pag hypertonic, isipin nyo yung tao na hyper mag-exercise. Di ba? Hyper mag-workout, tumakbo. Ano mangyayari sa kanya? Pwede siyang pumayat. Okay? Yun. Papayat. Liliit. Yung katawan. Ayun. So, isotonic, hypotonic, and hypertonic. Tapos na, sir? Hindi pa. Wait lang. Ito pa. Yan. Active transport. Of course, in active transport, this is a type of cell transport in which the movement of a substance from an area of low concentration to one of high concentration against the concentration gradient with the aid of a transmembrane protein. In other words, parang kaninang magkaibigan na umakyat dun sa bundok, paano yung direction nila? From low to high against gravity. Similarly, molecules or substance move from a low concentration to a high concentration with the help of a protein and requires ATP energy. Okay? So, ano example niyan? Ito, yung sodium-potassium pump. And you'll watch this video.
Membrane transport, active transport. In many cases, a cell will need to move molecules against their concentration gradients from low to high concentrations. In these circumstances, A process called active transport is needed. This process uses energy in the form of ATP to move a substance across the membrane using selective protein carriers. Let's look at a common example found in nearly all animal cells, the sodium-potassium pump. The sodium-potassium pump is a specialized membrane protein carrier that moves sodium and potassium ions across the plasma membrane. ATP fuels the pump in the movement of these ions from low to high concentrations, moving sodium ions outside of the cell where they become concentrated, and bringing potassium ions into the cell where their concentration is higher relative to the outside. In other instances of active transport, the concentration gradient created from the action of one pump can be used as the input of energy to drive a different pump, a process known as coupled transport. The large concentration gradient of sodium ions is used to bring glucose into the cell against its concentration gradient.
Okay, so binigyan na tayo ng dalawang example. Pero ang focus talaga natin dito, ito, yung sodium, potassium, pump. Okay, sisimplihan na lang natin yung discussion dito. Okay. So, ang ginagamit nila dito, ginagamit ng mga ions dito ay tinatawag natin na protein pump, which is called sodium-potassium pump. Okay? So, kumpletuhin na muna natin itong sequence na to para matapos na natin. Okay. Ayan. So, by the way, itong sodium at potassium, important sila sa ating brain and heart functioning. Sodium is the main extracellular ion, whereas the potassium is the main intracellular ion. Yung sodium sa brain functioning natin, yung potassium sa heart at muscle functioning. Ganito kasi yan, para maalala nyo. Alala nyo pa ba yung model ng Nokia? O sa sodium-potassium pump, useful siya. Nokia 3, 2, 1. Yan. Bakit? Na or sodium, di ba? Ilang sodium daw ang lalabas? 3. Sodium out. Tapos yung K, that is also the symbol for potassium. Ilang sodium yung papasok sa cell? 2. Okay? Kaya katapat niya yung 2. Potassium in. Ilang ATP molecule ang magagamit? 1. 1 ATP used. Ganito kasi yan, no? So, outside of the cell, merong 3 sodium molecule yung nag-aantay. And the carrier has a shape na nakaka-accommodate ng 3 sodium. Okay? Sa loob naman ng cell, doon si potassium, nakaabang. Okay? So, ano mangyayari sa ATP? Magsi-split. Okay? Sabihin, i-release niya yung isang phosphate group from ATP, naging ADP. Yung phosphate group will serve as the key to activate the pump. So, to make the long story short, 3 sodium, okay, yung ilalabas. Pumunta sila dito, magbabind sila dito. Yan. Tapos, in turn, 2 sodium naman yung makakapasok. O 2 potassium yung makakapasok. 3 sodium out, 2 potassium in. Okay? So, ganun yung nangyayari during the sodium-potassium pump. Alright? 3 sodium out, 2 potassium in, 1 ATP molecule used. Okay?
The sodium-potassium pump is an active transport mechanism. 3 sodium ions bind to the protein channel, and an ATP provides the energy to change the shape of the channel that in turn drives the ions through the channel. 1 phosphate group from the ATP remains bound with the channel. The sodium ions are released on the other side of the membrane outside of the cell, and the new shape of the channel has a high affinity for potassium ions, and two of these ions now bind to the channel. This binding again causes a change in the shape of the protein channel, and this conformational change releases the phosphate group on the cytoplasm side. This release allows the channel to revert to its original shape, and as a result, the potassium ions are released inside the cell. In its original shape, the channel has a high affinity for sodium ions, and when these ions bind again, they initiate another cycle. The important characteristic of this pump is that both sodium and potassium ions are moving from areas of low concentration to areas of high concentration. That is to say, each ion is moving against its concentration gradient. This type of movement can only be achieved by the constant expenditure of ATP energy.
Okay. So kaya sa tinawag na active transport is because the sodium and the potassium ions are moving against the concentration gradient. So from low to high concentration. And ATP is expended or ATP is used. All right? So now we move forward to the last type of membrane transport, and that is of course bulk transport. So for bulk transport, this is a type of active transport in which large particles or large quantities of substances are moved in and out of the cell using vesicles. So instead of using ATP here, okay, the cell utilizes vesicles. O yung tinatawag natin na vehicles of transportation sa cell. And it's achieved in two ways. We have exocytosis and endocytosis. In exocytosis, materials are released outside of the cell. Exo, outside, labas. Or material inside the cell is packaged into vesicles and then excreted or released into the extracellular environment. Whereas in endocytosis, paloob, endo, inside, a material outside the cell is transported into the cell. Example ng endo or exocytosis is of course release of hormones, enzymes, and neurotransmitters, yung chemicals ng brain natin na nakaka-affect ng ating mood, sleep, and energy. And removal of waste. Okay? So the vesicles fuse with the cell membrane to release substances outside the cell. Whereas in endocytosis, the cells engulf substances into a pouch which becomes a vesicle. Example niyan yung white blood cell, di ba? Ine-engulf yung foreign object o yung microorganism para mapatay nila. Also known as phagocytosis. And then another example is pinocytosis, in which vesicles form around a liquid or very small particles, literally cell drinking. And then we have another type of endocytosis which is called receptor-mediated endocytosis, in which a specific form of pinocytosis using a receptor proteins and a coated pit. Example, yung hypercholesterolemia. Okay, ano ibig sabihin yan? So sa hypercholesterolemia, mayroong problema doon sa cholesterol transport. So instead na nakakapasok at nakakabind yung cholesterol doon sa vesicle, hindi nagagawa yun. Kaya ang ending, tumataas yung cholesterol levels doon sa dugo. Okay? Hindi nakakapasok yung cholesterol sa loob ng cell. Sad. Alright? It's composed of the phospholipid bilayer, transmembrane protein, cytoskeleton, and cell surface marker. Zoom it out, it forms the fluid mosaic model. Okay, there are three types of cell transport mechanisms. We have passive transport, which does not require ATP and moves down the concentration gradient. Examples include simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion, and osmosis. And then the second type is active transport, which moves against the concentration gradient from low to high concentration. It requires ATP energy. Example is the sodium potassium pump. And then, of course, we have the bulk transport, which also requires energy and in a form of vesicles. Okay? Examples include endocytosis and exocytosis. And you have reached the end of the video. If nakaabot ka dito sa point na to, congratulations. We have just finished the first quarter topics. Okay? So, of course, this is Sir Ariel. Thank you for reaching the end of this video. Goodbye and thank you, students.